Hello there, Leo. How's everybody doing today? I hope that you're doing really well, and I'm looking forward to taking a look at all the energy for the month of December. It's been a busy morning when it comes to basically getting all my channeled information. I'll show you a quick shot of it in a second here on the table. So I can't wait to kind of get into all of that. Before I get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Like I said, we'll be taking a look at the sign of Leo for the month of December, and you can use this for your sun, your rising, and your moon sign. I saw some questions about other signs. You can always see the schedule for the upcoming readings on my website. And so feel free to take a look at that if you need to. The way that I organize this is in 4 major parts. I start with psychic downloads, which I call the channel message. I'm going to put down a polyp here. I start with the psychic downloads, which I've already put on the table. A bunch of messages here. I'll try to get through them as expediently as possible. But the way that I receive those is I set an intention usually a day or two before to start receiving them in dreams and meditations. And then I keep notes basically as I start to receive all of them. So this is from my guides and your guides, and I'm the channel, and I'll bring all of that through. Then we'll take a look at the Celtic Cross, and we'll see what messages want to come through there. And I don't focus it solely in love or career. I let that sort of take on whatever energy it needs to take on. I find that's a kind of cleaner and clearer way to do it. It's not forced then. But that I do expand the forecasts in the next portion to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. So you'll still get those main areas that I know everybody cares about. After we do this, then I'll do a quick review of everything, and we'll take a look then at the soul path. And kind of organically, as we go through the reading, there'll be 2 or 3 main points that maybe deserve a little bit more investigation, and that's what we'll do at that point, helping you not just through the next month or 2, but hopefully the next half year or so. The soul path stuff is something that makes a difference in life in general, so that's a sort of deeper portion at the end, and then we bring it all together with the meditation and a sound bath as well. So a lot in store. Let's get started without any further delays. Just one more thing before we do get into the channeled messages. I want to talk about Super Chat and how I use it. So if you'd like to show support, there's a little icon in the form of a $sign next to the emojis. And what this helps me do is basically show up. It helps with all the supplies that you see here. So from the cards that I use to the index cards that I write on to the markers that I use, it's just a way to give back. It all takes time, energy, and resources, including the technology that I'm using here, the computers, the microphones. So it's a way for you to show support. So if I hit on something and you like it, it's a way to say thank you. So I may not take questions and answers like other readers do because it takes me out of my channel. But if I hit on something that you like, and hopefully I will with all the channeled messages, you can just say thanks that way. And I look at everything later, and I usually pin a reply to my pinned comment, and I'll say thank you there. That's how I operate, and I'm gonna get started now. Hey, Apollo buddy, what's going on? All right, he's in the background digging in his bed, trying to get comfortable. So hopefully everyone else is getting comfortable as well. All right, the first thing that came through was an image of, I was riding on a bus, and there was this internal desire to turn it around. I just felt like we were going in the wrong direction. And I could see actually that it was kind of leading to a dead end. And it's kind of like in one of those movies where you just know it's not the right thing to do. And then I woke up in the meditation, but not in real life. And I was able to avert basically just a waste of time, or maybe even something that wasn't so good. So what I'm seeing for you is that there is a sort of like a U-turn or a right turn or a left turn that you need to take in your life. And it could be in any particular area. It felt kind of big to me. So it could be like a career shift, something going on in a relationship, or maybe even just a decision on what it is you want to be doing right now. And sometimes we get so far on a path that we think, I can never make this change happen, or it's too late, or I'm too old, or too many people will think I'm crazy. Well, the thing that I was seeing is that the trade-off, well, it actually favored the change versus staying that course and then having to deal with the repercussions of maybe going down the wrong path. When I used to work in corporate environments, this stuff would happen all the time. You knew that you were wasting time and energy on a project, and you just had to finish it. And then you would have to redo so much more and spend additional money and time on things later. So whether you are in an environment like that where there's a team and they're pushing you to make a bad decision, or a decision that's going to cost more in time and energy in the long run, you don't have to do it. Basically, I just saw that you're the voice of reason. So let me go through the cards a little bit, and then I'll add some additional insights. First and foremost, honor your premonitions and instincts. We all receive them differently. So it might be something where you just feel it in the pit of your stomach. This isn't what I want to do. Or it's kind of, you're getting like, it's like your scalp is on fire or you're feeling hot, or however the energy comes through you. Honor that feeling like this isn't right. I don't want to do it. And for some of you, it may feel like what happened in my meditation or dream, where it's almost like you're waking up, an aha moment or an epiphany or some sort of an awakening where you just realize that this change of direction is necessary and it's advantageous. You may be the only one that sees it. And that's one of the sort of cool and not so cool things about being clairvoyant and being awake. It's a privilege, it's also a responsibility, and it's a challenge because you may not be able to quantify why it's wrong. Now, if you can get the solid information, the data to support it, then by all means use that. And you don't have to tell them that there's also this little voice in the back of your head saying, don't do this. This is the wrong way to go. You have a choice here. You can either like speak up and try to inspire others to make the change, or you could kind of volunteer to be the one that does the change. Just know that any time spent now turning the ship around, or whatever vehicle in your head you have, is going to be advantageous. You're going to save time by not having to fix something that's really broken down the road. Pause now, change direction, reformulate your idea, or let go of something and move on to something else, because I just see like a change of direction or even deserting something that's not worth your time and energy. It will actually be advantageous and save you in the long run. So that's one piece of that. There's some additional things that are coming through, and I'll talk about that in a second, because there were two interesting things that I saw with that bus. One was just that you had to kind of turn it around. The other thing had to do with communication, and like I was really focusing on throat, mouth, and even like the teeth, and I'll talk about this in a second. Let's talk about the voice first. I think it's really important to have direct communication. Think like the Queen or the King of Swords in reverse. This is a time for you to say what you need to say in a way that's direct but not cruel. And it's better to say something and get it even on record than to be silent and then have someone ask you later, like, why didn't you speak up, or why didn't you tell me this? It's like, even like when you look at great friends and they could say something about, like, if you have your shirt on backwards or if something doesn't look right, you want to hear that. The same thing should be in any part of your life. If you're going to save someone from looking bad or doing something that could be harmful or costing extra time, energy, or resources, it's much better to do that. So a little bit of tough love at the beginning equals a lot more happiness in the long run. And I think that's something that you'll have to kind of like weigh the pros and cons. To that end, sometimes when you say something, you might lose a connection because they think that you're doing the wrong thing or you're being not loyal. But if it's the right thing to do, I feel like you're going to maybe lose a couple and then gain a couple friends or connections as well. Whoever stuck around, they're the ones that were always going to be in your court. And whoever joins force is also kind of forces with you actually in the long run, will also be someone who sees you for who you are and recognizes and celebrates that honesty, that transparency, that sort of moral compass that you have to do the right thing. So the next piece of the vision was kind of unique. It's something that I wouldn't have, you don't think of this as an adult, but I just saw myself like losing baby teeth, which brought a few, like when we're kids, it's so weird. We forget about this as adults, right? We like lose all of our baby teeth and then we grow what we have now. It's sort of like this regenerative energy that comes through with this, which is there's a sacrifice, but what comes through is longer term and more stable. So those baby teeth are there because sometimes you make mistakes as a kid and you knock out a tooth or whatever. It gives you a second chance. So what I saw with this was it was like a second chance. You're getting a sort of stronger, firmer foundation by moving or letting go of something. And growing pains is another way to kind of like describe what the energy is that you're going through at the moment. Just know that you'll be stronger and better positioned for the growth in the long run. That's part of why the teeth change too, because the structure of our face and our jaw and everything changes. So they adjust so that we don't have these little tiny teeth in this big head. So you're going to have to change and shift and grow. It was a very weird vision for my guides to show me. I thought, what am I going to do with this? And it makes sense. So we have to shift and change and grow. So that's one of the few times that I've ever seen that visual. So I guess some of you need to hear that and need to be reminded that loss is not permanent, especially like when you're looking at those baby teeth from a kid to an adult. You're going to be okay. And in fact, it's probably the truer version of you, whatever it is that you're stepping into, if that makes sense. Okay. So let's look at the next big piece that came through, which imagine that words, and they kind of have the power to lift up or sting or kind of even be a weapon. So you can elevate or you can deflate with them. So I kind of saw the words or the communication going by me like a laser, and I was trying to avoid the crossfire of the energy of the conversation. So what I would say is don't get caught in someone else's crossfire. This could be gossip, anger, frustration. Sometimes there are people in your life that just seem to have a cloud around them all the time. They have a hard time sort of entering into the energy of gratitude, and can sometimes just feel really weighed down by things. So if they're trying to get you to agree to something, we'll talk about this agreement later, where they say, whatever your name is, isn't that right? Or don't you agree? Or you want to get on this too? You want to be a part of this too? Don't let the peer pressure convince you to engage in a contract or support a cause that doesn't feel like it's compatible with who you are, what you want to do, etc. I think that it's better to, I put here, remain cool, calm, collected, and your power is to fight really what matters most in your life and where you can make the most impact. So if you have someone like this in your life, you could just simply say, I can tell you're frustrated. Let's agree to disagree on this thing, or I can't really help you out with this, but I hope it all works out. I wouldn't even say keep me posted, because that's an invitation for them to continue to get in your energy. So just say, I wish you the best. I wish I could help, but this isn't something I feel comfortable getting behind. So good luck. And then step back. You can empathize, but don't get too much in the energy, and don't say something that then they're going to say to somebody else. Because that was one thing that I'm seeing this month, is that things can spread a little bit. I had an image of a leaky pipe, and I'll talk about that. That can be a lot of things, but it can also be communication leaking out. So if you don't agree with it, don't say anything about it. Just say, I don't have an opinion on that. You're talking to the wrong person. It's better to push it back and then just walk away. It's not your fight to fight. Sometimes things are worth it. Like when I was saying, turning the boat around, the ship around, whatever. If there's something that you need to change and you need to speak up, that's fine. That's your fight. But if someone else is going down a rabbit hole and it looks like it's a sinking ship, let them fight that fight. That's their karma. That's their decision. And unless you feel really somehow attached to helping them out, it's not worth it. The other thing that I saw was you have a chance this month to do like house cleaning or inspections, and it's both literal and figurative. So on the literal side, one thing that I was seeing was something in the walls or something in the closet, and it looked like it was water damage. And so look at the plumbing. Some of you may have an old home, or we're entering into, in the Northern Hemisphere, winter time, right? So a lot of times that means a broken pipe or a leaky pipe. And I've been seeing it for 2 or 3 days. Pipes in my dreams, breaking, leaking. So some of you need to look at the inside of your house and just check that out. Now, the other thing though is it's not just plumbing, but it could also be time and energy management. Sometimes that's the flow of energy, and it's showing me that it's going in directions that it doesn't need to. So you could be looking at where you could kind of firm up or plug up the holes in your energetic field, where you're spending time and energy that you shouldn't in an extracurricular activity, helping that person fight a fight that's not your fight, trying to clean up other people's messes. Plug those gaps so that you can basically get things done and you have a clearer form of energy going through. Can also be people kind of putting cords into you, and you're feeling that drainage. So cord cutting, grounding, very efficient at kind of cutting out that leaky energy that I saw. Also, and this is the only time I've ever seen the pipe metaphor go here, but my guides were showing me this as well. It can show a leaking of information or gossip. So this is why I don't want you to say things that could be misconstrued. Just better to say nothing than to say something that could somehow come back and be harmful towards you. Also, shortcuts aren't always worth it. So this had to do with both like maybe trying to get from point A to B without going through the proper channels, or what we're seeing here with the pipes. You could have someone that doesn't know what they're doing and it's sort of like shoddy. So it's better to just go through whatever traditional process that you need to get something done, just to make sure that everything's looked at. I think that you want to really kind of take a look at also all the fine details this month. I didn't write it down just because I had enough cards here, but I think that some of you might find an inefficiency somewhere or an opportunity somewhere by doing that. The last thing that I was shown was it kind of reminded me of like a kid's show where you saw people do like a blood pact, cut their palms and shake hands. I think those are very binding and it's kind of dangerous. And so what my guides were showing me is not to agree to something that is too binding. You shouldn't have to literally sort of like bleed to get an agreement. And so don't agree to an overly restrictive contract, and write some sort of like a contingency or an escape clause for yourself, or a parachute clause, so that there is a way to dissolve a contract if you need to on amicable grounds. And also if someone, like if you are contracting work in, to make sure that if somebody leaves, like you don't have to pay them for work that they don't do and things like that. So just really look at contracts and make sure that there's a good agreement, that it's mutually beneficial and mutually protective. It shouldn't be favoring one side or another. And if it is, get out. Because to me, that looked like a contract that was too much. We shouldn't be promising too much, and there should be no bleeding in a contract. So that's the basics here. So just a quick summary, and then we'll get into the cards. Trust your intuition. There's probably a big change of direction that you need to take, and it's a little scary. Change is scary in general, but I feel like the trade-off for time saved in the long run is worth that. Don't be afraid of growing pains this month. And if you're feeling disconnected from something, it's a sign that it's probably time to move on. You're going to be stronger and better for whatever changes you make. Remember to stay cool, calm, collected, and only fight the fights that really matter. And do some house cleaning. Look for where that energy flow is kind of like leaking, and plug that leak. And then with the contracts, don't agree to too much. This can also be, I'm going to stack the cards as I'm talking here. This can also be sometimes over-promising, right? So sometimes in a desire to please everybody, sometimes we say we can do things and then we fall short. And it's a very gentle version of like the Seven of Swords, because that's an accountability card. And sometimes we're kind of fooling ourselves and fooling others. It's a lot better to say, I can't do it, or to push back a little bit on something that's unrealistic, than to try to do everything and then get yourself in a situation where people are getting angry at you. And it's not really your fault because it was too much, but it kind of is because you said you would do it. So this is where that direct communication, like King or Queen of Swords reversed, can actually help you out, because we always want to be at a point where we're being honest, we're setting up like reasonable expectations for what's possible. All right, so let's take a look at the cards here. Again, we'll be looking at December, but the way that I work is that whenever you tune in, I see this in the comments sometimes, it's probably the message you need to hear on that day. So if you're watching it live or if you're watching it on replay during the month of, it's fine. The messages may be relevant right here and right now. All right, I'm going to remain quiet at this point, but I will rejoin you in just a few moments here, and we'll talk about everything that I pull. Ironically, in the background, they're fixing some plumbing. I heard them outside this morning. So not only is it relevant to you, but it's apparently irrelevant to this building too. So if you hear a little bit of construction, that's out of my control. All right, everybody, welcome. And let's take a look now at what came through in the cards here. I love the cosmic egg here. And this is sort of that end and beginning here that we saw. And there's actually a couple of cards that came through. So this is your catalyst. The catalyst is a way to elevate your energy, to stay on the right path, to avoid any sort of mishaps that kind of pull you in the wrong direction. And it's reversed, and so is the other kind of like ace-like energy or egg-like energy that we see in health. So this is a seed, this is an egg, very similar sort of energies. And both of these are being protected or being pulled by some sort of serpentine energy, which is really interesting to me as well. So for what we were talking about earlier, I feel like for some of you, this can be someone who maybe doesn't want you to get to the next level. And that's why there could be sort of that energy of pulling you back or pulling you into their energy. It can also be you needing to guard or protect something that you really care about, just like a mama bear would if it was her, her cub. So what I see with this is you're onto something, like you're onto a really good idea. And I think that it's important for you to, if you're someone that's kind of like an engineer or an artist or an inventor, get a patent for that, get a copyright for that, get things protected. And then you can start to shop that around. For the rest of us, sometimes there's this desire to maybe hold on to something too long. And so this could also be a sort of encouragement for some of you to get ready to release and start that new journey, because we are at that point where it's time to turn or to just get off the bus. That's what I wanted to do in the meditation and the dream. I just wanted to move on to my own path. And if that's the case, then it's a chance to be reborn, just like the baby teeth coming out. This is renewal, rebirth, redirection. And what you need to do this month is protect yourself as you start this new path as well. So that's why we're seeing these sort of like protective energies around this as well. But I think you're going to be okay no matter what you do. To me, I look at the egg as like an ace of pentacles. And I see this as really just getting ready to release it. And I see a lot of really great possibilities coming through with this. This is 2021 for you. So you're not going to quite see everything over the course of December, or if you're watching this live in November, but I feel like it's getting time to hatch. And so the question is not if, it's when. When are you going to make that change happen over the course of the next year? How are you going to portray yourself? What are you going to do about it? So I just feel like you're all on the precipice right now of a big movement, a big change, a big reveal. And to me, this is overall a pretty exciting card, okay? The only thing that, again, that I'm seeing here is to choose wisely who it is that you want to share stuff with, okay? Because of those leaky pipes, that can be, again, conversation or things getting out. So just pick your friends and your partners and your allies really closely and carefully. We have an Ace of Wands right at the center. So again, a big idea, a new beginning. For some of you, someone who might even be really interested in you, this is all a really positive energy to have at the center. Aces are birth cards. So this is a very cognitive card. If it was a sword, I would see some action happening. So I feel like some of you might just be getting the big idea, the big vision over the course of the next 6 or 8 weeks. And then as you get into 2021, that's where things really start to sort of grow for you. It's interesting because we're kind of like in opposite seasons here in the Northern Hemisphere, where we're going into sort of like a hibernation season that's starting to warm up in the Southern Hemisphere. So especially for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, you're entering into a period where a lot of growth, both externally and internally, is happening. For the rest of us, it's sort of like this may not show itself until maybe April, or we may not be able to share it with the world until then, but it's happening nonetheless, whether you see it or whether inside you're changing. That's what the baby teeth are about too. It's the adult teeth pushing through. It's like, you got to move on, right? It's kind of like a tower energy. So what I would say this month that you could do is start to get ahead of the tower and pay attention to all the warning signs. There's so much noise this morning. It's kind of like that with your energy. What's the wake-up call? What's the external stuff going on? What do you need to tune into? All right, so one thing that I think is really important this month is to decide what you want. So I always like the 7 of Cups energy. It's a chance to go down any path, but if you stay in it too long, sometimes it just gets dizzying or it gets a little bit distracting. And I guess one of the messages this month is to find the big idea, the one thing that really, for you, lights the passion in your heart and in your soul, and go for that. The other stuff, sometimes it's ancestral, sometimes it's from our community, from our family, from society around us. But it feels to me like you know what you want to do. This other stuff is just, maybe you're trying to do some soul searching and thinking, do I have the courage to make this change or to go down this path? And I think you do. It's just a matter of knowing in your heart and your soul, like when it is. Sometimes there's an understanding like, I've waited long enough, I have to do it now. So I feel like you'll be getting to that precipice soon. If not in December, then very soon, over the next quarter of the year. Five of Wands has been showing up for a lot of signs this month. It's a time to get stuff done. If this is in your deep past, so I feel like you've already done a lot of the work already. What's interesting with this Five of Wands is how disparate or separate all the energetic threads are. A lot of times with Five of Wands, we see everybody, sometimes you can see teamwork, sometimes you can see competition. In this one, I see disarray. And I think that one opportunity for you this month is to try to bring things into focus so that if you're working, it's more efficiently. Like I was talking about that leak. Sometimes the leak can be a lack of focus. So if we can channel everything in one direction and kind of pull it on a similar path, I think things are going to be much more efficient for you. I feel like it's time. We've got the World card right here, which is almost like another egg coming, like kind of cracking open and coming to fruition, or it's a flower opening. So this is your time. This is a chance to make that change. And the world is kind of like as big as you can get with the change. It can be a change in relationship status, a change of living situation. I've been dreaming about the moves too for you as well, past couple of nights. So some of you might be getting into a new home. Just inspect that home really carefully, whether it's an apartment or it's a house. That's what I was seeing, like open up the closets, look at the pipes, do all that stuff. It can be, again, a change in what you're doing for a living or what you're trying to do on the planet, because it is the world. For those of you that do something creative or have a product or service, this is super positive because it shows distribution, expansion, broadcasting, dissemination, all that stuff, which is great. So it's telling me that it's probably time to bring that out to the masses. So exciting, big changes. They're happening now. That's your recent past. One thing that looks like it could use some balancing this month is either emotional state or relationship energy in general. I like that we have Two of Cups in the crowning position. If you're looking for love, it's there. But the thing is, there's a lot going on within your own mind, body, and spirit that might be distracted by the relationship energy that could cross your path. If you're in a relationship, there's a chance to deepen it. But the thing that you have to do first is sort of celebrate why you were together, what you have in common, and celebrate the roses and the thorns that are part of this sort of union. And I think that it's going to be okay, but there is a little need to find balance. So whether it's the two of you getting on the same mental page, spending a little bit more time together, or forgiving one another for those little thorns that you have, I think it's okay. We'll look at some of the other cards and get some additional context when I go deeper into relationships, which I do when I expand the forecast. But right now, I just see that there's some balancing that needs to happen. For those of you that are single and happy, or that are really focusing on work, this is about give and take. And when the card is reversed, it's showing that either you're in a point where you need a little more help and you could be in that place of receiving, or you could focus on making sure that you're giving enough. There's something going on with giving and receiving that seems to be imbalanced. So this is a chance to bring it into the proper sort of place, okay? We have the Three of Wands here in the near future. Really great card for showing that you can work it out. You can find a way to make things happen. And Three of Wands also shows that if you're awake, if you're aware, if you're paying attention, you should start to see some positive movement in your life. In the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you would see someone looking out at ships coming in. So literally your ship's coming in, your time, your moment is coming. And I think that a lot of what you see with this interpretation, though, is it's about perspective, because we're pulling the Three Wands together and we're getting sort of like this lens on the world. Stay positive. Look at the possibilities. When we focus on, critical is good, by the way. It's good to be constructively critical and plan for things that could go wrong. That's why we have insurance. It's just preparation and it's smart. But I think that sometimes, especially this year, it's been tough because there's a lot of energy around us where it can be based in fear or anger or frustration. So what we have to try to do is keep elevating and getting into, how can I do my best? How can I focus? How can I change? How can I do things that are going to set me up for success? Because it's not always going to be like 2020. It is forcing us to go inward, but I would say one thing you still have to do is stay high energetically. So that's the opportunity with the Three of Wands. But I see some great productivity and some great breakthroughs. So if we just look at the center cards here, the main focus before we get into what's going on around you and where you're headed is, again, to be a little bit more organized, to clear your head, and then to balance out relationships. Then we see a lot of positive movement because it's bookended by that Wheel of Fortune and by the Three of Wands. So overall, I feel like things are headed in the right direction. Okay, let's take a look here. We've got the Nine of Cups here in your soul space here, or in your ego. And what I'm seeing with this for many of you is it's kind of like a slow and steady build to some good news. And the important thing, again, is to not let yourself get carried away by the highs or the lows. On the bright side of the Nine of Cups is that, that positive energy starts to inspire people around you as well. And when things are good, they're really good. Just don't let one little hiccup or one little bump in the road completely make you lose faith in yourself. Also, don't let somebody else pull you into something you don't want to do either, or pressure you. And I think that's the key thing with this. But I like that we see Nine of Cups. Generally, that's showing me that you're in a good place with emotions, with overall energy, and you can tap into that and have some good creative flow. So far, so good. All right. So, okay. So with this one, I think that some of you are deciding, should I go back or should I not? It's the Eight of Cups. Even with my glasses on, it's hard to read these numbers sometimes because they're light. So with this, I think sometimes things are better left in the past. This is in your environment, so you may have a second chance to return to a job, or there might be an ex that comes into your circle where they're trying to show you that they've changed. The card in reverse, and especially with all the shattered glasses, again, Eight of Cups, is sort of like, I don't know if I want to do that again, right? So I think there's some good and there's some bad. And for some situations, I feel like you got what you needed out of it. And this is a reminder that you left for a reason, or it didn't work for a reason. And sometimes that's the universe blessing you and helping you avoid getting down in that path again. So I think this is about rebirth, new beginnings. It's not about retreading old ground. So my encouragement would be to try something different this month based on this very different illustration of the Eight of Cups. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot left there. You got what you needed. You can move on. And the card is reversed too, showing me that you've already climbed that mountain. You don't have to climb it again. Okay. It's a chance to release and forgive as well. So sometimes it seems like it's easier to hold a grudge. But it's actually a lot more freeing to let go and just think, that was what it was, and I learned a lot, and I'm not going to do it again. So whether it was a friend that wronged you, a boss that mistreated you, a lover that just didn't appreciate you, whatever it was, they weren't in the right frequency for you anyway. And so better to not, when we kind of put our anchor into them and put a connection to them, we're then held back by their own. Obviously, it was flawed logic before. It's not really changed. So you don't want to kind of be tying your your hitch to that. So let it go. And it's almost like fly fishing. Throw the energy out into a new direction and see what else hooks, what's positive. Try to get something better. That wasn't it. That was like a tire in the background that's holding you down. Okay. As we look now at your possibilities, it's about movement and patience. A lot of times when we see the Hanged Man in reverse, it's just that reminder of the shortcuts that I was talking about earlier, where anything is possible and you can explore whatever path that you want, but only take a shortcut if it's truly saving you some time and energy. And, as I was saying earlier, if there's something that you need to turn around, that's fine. But I think that you shouldn't cut corners, and I think that you shouldn't rush. Try to just figure out like the right path and then do that path, because you're gaining a lot of insight from whatever you're going through right now. And that's something that is important here. Also, If you're in a job or this, like if we take it out of a process and look more at a life station, there may be something where you're just stagnating. Like maybe the relationship, you're just not getting the give and take that you want. The other partner isn't ready to commit, or you've been in the relationship for a while and it's breaking down, because we see here 10 of Swords, which is a lack of communication. So if the communication is souring and the other partner isn't going to kind of be there for you, then this is your leaky pipe. This is the energy that's pulling you down, or taking your focus and scattering it, which we kind of see with the center card here. So it's okay to walk away from that kind of stuff. Whatever will clear and sort of like streamline your energy this month, that's really what the cards are conveying as I look at everything here, okay? So let's move along now to the expanded forecast. We're gonna look at health, wealth, love, and destiny and get some additional insights in everything that we just talked about. Okay, so we have the what is kind of like an ace card, and this, both of these, the cosmic egg and the seed. Whenever I see a seed or an egg, I really read it as pentacles, because that's what pentacles is. It's a coin. It's something it's a little beginning of value, basically. So for some of you, somebody might have taken something away, an opportunity, an idea. It could have literally been like they stole or they took something. It could also be your confidence, because when we look at pentacles, particularly like the 4 of Pentacles or the 5 of Pentacles, it can be someone that hurt you when you were younger or now, and it's just kind of holding you back. They're gone. That dragon in the background, that's the past. That's not you anymore. The illustrations are weird. I thought it was a chipmunk, but it's like, yeah, I guess it is a chipmunk or something here. But it kind of looked like a pig for a second. I thought these are some strange illustrations. If we focus more on the acorn here and forget about the strange imagery back here, what I would say is whatever that shadow was in the past, and whoever you are, whoever's looking over this idea, you have the capacity to do it again. This is a theme that I've kind of hit on in different signs this month. If you're innovative, if one idea was taken from you, think of something else and think of something better or build upon it. Because that's sometimes, I mean, in art and in business, there's always borrowing and sharing, and it's not always who thinks of it first, it's who does it the best. So if somebody executed your idea and they did it poorly, execute your own idea better or build upon it. It was your idea to start with. So find a way to reinvent yourself, to have that second chance, to shed the baby teeth, to get the full sort of version of yourself and a stronger voice this time. And I think you're going to be fine. So if you were feeling like a victim in the past, you're not anymore. And you can kind of push through this. That's what I'm seeing. You're already on to something bigger and better. So let that be the definition of you, not what someone did in the past, even though it's upsetting, even though it's wrong. I strongly believe that karma it finds its own way to give retribution. We don't have to worry about it. The divine energy that kind of binds us all together and karma itself will find a way for people that do this stuff. They're going to pay one way, shape, or form. So let it go. They're going to have to repay that debt. You're going to probably be rewarded in a different way with another window or another door opening up, and you'll have a chance to do better and make it up. So one thing that I do sometimes, if I'm stuck or if something like that happens where an idea was stolen or something was taken, I'll say, universe, set me up so that I can regain all of that and more, and in a different way or shape. Surprise me by a positive movement in my life. I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to trust that you have my back, and just show me a better way, because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole anymore. So let the universe find a new opening for you and let it go. Looking at other aspects of your health this month, some of you might just benefit from finding a way to feel less isolated. I mean, we've been seeing the Hermit and the Hanged Man come through a lot this year because some of us just feel stuck, right? So whatever you can do to feel unstuck, whether that is to safely take a walk on the street or something a little bit more, making sure that you're getting some fresh air. We can't do that in every city now because we're going under lockdowns again. So virtual meetings coming through and things like this. You're welcome to come to any sign, by the way. The beginning portion and the ending portion, it's very much for the collective. And I'm going to start to do maybe once a month collective readings because I really enjoyed the Halloween one. So I'm thinking of maybe grafting a little bit onto the Q&A that I'm going to do on the 27th, and maybe doing a gratitude as a form of healing, because it's Thanksgiving in the United States. So I thought, like, let's use the ability to be grateful to heal. So anyway, come to these if you need a sense of community. I'm always trying to put something special at the beginning and the end, and I'm going to probably do maybe one a month, an extra video if I can, just for all of us to come together so that we're creating a spiritual community of healing. You can do that for yourself. You can come here. You can find it anywhere, but just find that sense of community. I think it's going to be really important. The other thing that's going to be very important this month is to take care of your physical body. This card is kind of hard to see. I think we have like it looks like some sort of a beast of burden here with all of these swords going through it. But in a typical 10 of swords, what you have is a focus on spinal health and chronic pain. So if you have anything that you're managing, it's a bull, I think, actually, as I'm looking at it. But if you're dealing with any chronic pain or acute pain or anything in your life that you've been struggling with for a while, this is a time to put some energy into just taking care of your body. So get that physical therapy that you need, go to the doctor, take care of your health, stretch a little bit more. Just make sure that you're getting as strong as you can so that when 2021 comes around, you are going to be able to pull through all the energy that's ready. It's knocking at the door. So your body needs to be strong. It's the channel that allows for that energy to flow through it. Physical health is really, really important. Some of you might be on the precipice also of letting something kind of go to the world. So whether it's launching a project or having a baby, again, you want to be really strong for that as well. Okay. Let's look at wealth here. We have sacrifice. And a couple notes with this. The first one is that, as I said, when it came to a contract, you don't have to give something up that it's either unfair or maybe unjust or not legal. I don't feel like you need to sacrifice as much as people are asking you to sacrifice. So take a look at the trade-offs. I'm going to read this as a constructive card. And make sure that both sides are meeting in the middle and that you're fighting for what you want. Because to me, this is a very defensive stance here. So you don't have to throw yourself on the sword. You can fight for what you want. The other person can fight, and then you can kind of find the middle ground. And if you can't work it out, that's okay. If communications break down and you can't find someone to mediate, then this wasn't the right connection for you anyway. Because what I see for you, if we go straight across the middle, is big movement and change, maybe something that you've decided to do, and some really great movement with that. So you might be at a point where you don't need anybody else, or you could go somewhere where people can see that potential within you, and it's a better place for you to be anyway in the long run. Looking at love, your children are watched over. So for some of you, there's two messages here. So this is really, to me, kind of bringing forth energy of like 6 of Cups energy, where like sometimes we're looking at or even the sun, or the Fool, where it's our youthful side that needs to be protected. And sometimes we give that up when we become an adult. We think it's all work or it's all sacrifice, because we have sacrifice right underneath that. So don't sacrifice things in your life that bring you joy, that bring you a sense of happiness and playfulness, because especially this year, I think it's important to have those human connections and human thoughts. So make time for fun, for joy, for gratitude, because it's going to help you in those relationships. It's going to help you with work. It's just going to help make you happier. Children are taking a big sort of center stage here in the cards here with that particular card. So some of you are thinking of maybe starting a family. I've got 2 cards here showing like seeds or eggs, so that's pretty clear for me. And I would say this is fine, but I have a caveat for that. If you're thinking of starting a family, what's important is that you're both on the same page and you're both ready. And for some of you, it looks like there's some opportunities with communication, because this could just feel like the relationship is stuck. Maybe you guys aren't communicating as well as you used to. And it feels like this is something that will kind of be the glue to keep you together. Don't use that as the glue. All a child does is sort of like exacerbate existing issues. It's not going to fix the issues. Now, if you're ready, then it's fine. And this is really just, this is a cautionary note for other people that might be having communication issues. Just get your mind, body, and spirit in a good place, because with the 10 of Swords, the Hangman, and the 8 of Cups, I'm seeing a cycle that needs to be broken. and an improvement in health and well-being. So once that's been accomplished, you're good. And that's the main focus there. The other thing, whenever I see like a 6 of Cups type card, is that if you're bringing in new love, there could just be this past life connection. There could be a little bit of karma. A lot of times we meet partners with whom, I was seeing that blood connection. And it could be like brother or sister energy that you bring in this life, and you're exploring it in a different dynamic. So sometimes our parents used to be someone that we were married to. Sometimes we meet a sibling from a past life and we're trying a different relationship. It sounds weird when you say it that way, but it is sort of what goes on. We try every possible thing. Sometimes we work for people, sometimes we love them, sometimes we're born into that family. We want to walk every walk of life. So look at the karmic energy. I see a bloodline. So you probably had a familial connection. So sort of sort through it and think, was that my parent, or was I the parent with this person before? And can we get out of that energy of one of us having to take care of the other person? Can we both sort of be equal? And that's usually the challenge when you meet someone that was a paternal or maternal energy in the past. So kind of sort that out. That's why it's sometimes better if we're not meeting a karmic soulmate, because you're not tethered by all of that. So if it's someone that you're meeting for the first time, or you don't have that deep of a blood connection to them, it's a lot clearer, it's a lot cleaner, and you have a lot more options. So if you meet a soulmate, figure out the karma, and then try to avoid repeating it or release the old karma so you can then create better, clearer, cleaner karma in this particular relationship. And your final card here in Destiny, which you control, this is just kind of where you're headed. It's reminding you that you're on a path. Take one step at a time to happiness. I would also say for this that you shouldn't be afraid to change the path or to move on the path that you're feeling called to do the most. So just because, I saw you on a bus with what looked like, 30 people, something we couldn't even do in COVID-19 times. So it's symbolic. To me, that's like your immediate family, friends, and people around you. You're going to diverge from that path. That's what I see. I don't know when it's going to happen because it's up to you. There's a lot of free will and choice, but I see a divergence happening where you're going to go maybe just a little bit, or maybe it's a real, you're going in the opposite direction, and that's okay. You have to follow your own path, and it's unfolding, which means that there's a chance and a way and a timing that's really appropriate for you. So honor it when you have that internal awakening, and I think everything's going to flow much clearer, much cleaner after that, and that the pipes that I was seeing that were kind of broken will be fixed at that point, because then you're truly doing what you're called to do. Let's quickly review everything, and then we'll go a little deeper into the soul path. Maybe I can get into what that cosmic egg is for some of you. I can help you with like the 10 of Swords energy and things like that as well. Okay, so let me just get the index cards here ready, and I'm going to turn the camera down and we'll look at everything one more time before going on to the next part of the reading. So what we have first is to honor your intuition and instincts. Now more than ever, they're really leading you down the right path at the right time. If you feel as if you have this sort of like epiphany or awakening or an aha moment, you are. It's true. Like I was waking up without waking up. Sometimes we're awake, but we're asleep. So I feel like you're going to have a second awakening, if that makes sense, this month. And I feel it in my belly as I say it. So this is a power struggle. It's right there around the solar plexus. Really strong energy. So there could be somebody that's trying to really control you or push you. A lot of times this is mom or dad energy, but it could be a boss too. So I felt it there for a second. Okay, change in direction is advantageous and it's necessary. So it's the right thing to do. You may be the only one that sees it. Plus, it's probably just your path, and your path is different from other people's paths, and that's okay. You can either try to get people to come along with you or just take the path yourself. And that's what we're seeing. And now that I see the Destiny card, it makes a lot more sense, right? Any time that you spend kind of like fixing things and going down this new path is actually going to save you time, because you're going to get closer to what you were supposed to be doing anyway, rather than finishing something that wasn't part of your path, part of your vision to start with. Use your voice this month. Don't be afraid of being direct. Like I said, King or Queen of Swords energy is what I saw in my head, like reversed. So it's just getting straight to the point. During this period, you might lose some connections or people in your life, but you're probably going to gain some, and those are going to be stronger than those who fell away. And then I sort of saw growing pains, and the very strange visual that my guide showed me was baby teeth being pushed out and adult teeth coming in. But that's basically so that you can get stronger and ready and more capable of being in this sort of like stronger. For you, it might be more like a light body, since most of you are adult right now. So this is about us kind of growing into our true selves and getting comfortable in our skin. Don't get caught in the crossfires of somebody else. It's not worth it. If they're trying to pull you into their sort of own drama, it's not your thing to fight. Really focus instead on where you can make a difference. Your strength and your ability is to sort of fight the fight that matters and avoid the little stuff that doesn't matter this month. Look at house cleaning and inspecting your houses. And this is both sort of like your spiritual house and your actual house. I mentioned plumbing. Sorry, let's see. Yeah, I mentioned plumbing here. So the pipes could mean either literally something going wrong, like beneath the sink or in the closet, or it could be somebody that is not using resources wisely, or it could be gossip. Whatever it is, it requires a little bit of clearing and cleaning. Take a look at this other card here, which was saying, just make sure also when we're looking at shortcuts, especially if it's on workmanship like that, that you're not cutting corners, is a better way I could have put it. Don't agree to a contract that feels like it's too restrictive. Better yet, make sure that you have a way to get out of a contract, or you're protecting yourself if something falls apart or if someone falls short of their end of the bargain. You're on the precipice of something big, something new. Feels like you're holding back a little bit because that card was reversed. So take your time and figure out when it's right. But as we saw with this Dharma unfolding, you're on your own path, and other people may just not understand what you're doing. But as long as you understand what you're doing and believe it, then really great things will happen. Don't let somebody take something away from you this time. Protect and really be discerning in who you partner with, because for some of you that might have happened in the past. It's not going to happen again. You learned from that. You have a big idea. You have such great energy here at the center. Do you see that? The World card, the Ace of Wands, and the Three of Wands. I really like this. So lean into this. This is what it's all about for you. Don't get lost in your thoughts or in others. Don't brainstorm too much. I really feel like you've got it. Like the first idea is the best here. Organize your sort of like daily routine. Organize people that you might be managing. I just see disparate energy kind of scattering in a way that really isn't effective. This is much more efficient, and I think that's what you want to focus on. Maybe even having fewer people, but people that are more clear on the vision. I think that's going to be important here. Big change in life event, whether it's living situation, relationship, or anything. Like I just see a big movement for you. Relationships do need to be balanced out. And as we look at kind of the higher energy here associated with those relationships, and most of what we're seeing here, actually, we take a sort of change in the road from life path and work to relationships. If you can balance it, awesome, because you can take the Two of Cups and Nine of Cups, and you have this happy union here, and it's in a diagonal. There might be some people in your life that just can't get into the high frequencies, and we have all this dark energy here. And what we see here is that some people focus on what isn't possible. They kind of go to worst case scenarios, or they keep to themselves too much, even though this is a hanged man, it's very hermity energy, or they're stuck. They like to kind of cling on to the past. Just don't argue. And even though I'm reading for December, there are two family sort of events that are happening here in the States. There's a US Thanksgiving. I think Canada also has some sort of a similar holiday, but a lot of places kind of get together in the latter part of November. And then of course, over December, there are multiple celebrations that take place. At the very least, it's New Year's. So try to avoid arguments in this period. There's so much going on in the world right now that we can argue about. Don't. Choose a higher path, walk away. That's some of what I was talking about as well. It's just not worth it. As we look at some of the more positive energy here, I see you on the precipice of something new. It's the equivalent, like I just see a bunch of aces. This is like an ace, this is like an ace, this is like an ace, this is like an ace. So focus on all of the beginnings, all of the opportunity around you. Let go of that person from the past, whoever this little dragon is here. Let them go. And you don't have to give up too much anymore. This is about fighting for what's important for you, right? And as we look at this, this is really important for you now to have some fun again. And maybe your priorities are changing too. If you've just started a family. Isn't it crazy how, like, I knew this even when I got my puppy. I call him a puppy, he's 5, but everything changed because you want to kind of like protect something else in your life. It's not all about you. So I think some of you might just be kind of broadening the view a bit, and you're growing up and you're kind of shedding your own baby teeth too, because you're protecting someone or something else. The love this lifetime and this month in particular is about something bigger. And again, if you have any sort of karmic relationships coming through, just clean the karma. There is sort of like parent-child energy from the past that can be cleared up. And it's your own path. You know when to go down that path, but there seems to be a big push from the universe to not waste too much time to get onto that path sooner than later. So some really powerful messages here in the first part. Let's go ahead now and expand the forecast. We're going to now go into the soul path. And I want to look at the egg. What's this big opportunity? What's the so what here? And you're right. Yes, my puppy will always be a puppy. All right. He's in the background too, his toys. If you ever wonder what happens magically, he sometimes just puts his toys behind me so we can see one of his little, it's just randomly out there. Once you have a pet or a kid, you give up trying to have a perfectly clean floor because toys end up everywhere. So let's look at the cosmic egg here and figure out what's the big opportunity for you. Where is this headed? What can you open up to? He has a couple of beds. There's another bed to the left of me too. I have a small place, but if you have dogs, they like to have their own little nooks and crannies. Cosmic egg, what's it about? Okay, so we have the 5 of Cups. 5 of Cups is ever so interesting because a lot of times you have a choice. You notice how this deck is really cool because it shows the contrast between like dark and light really nicely. This card is about trying to look upward, trying to keep your energy towards the light, even when there's some difficulty in your life. So 5 of Cups is always a perspective card with the horse kind of in the reverse state looking up. That's what I'm seeing, is looking past the challenge and also looking past the work that it takes to do something. So if you're building a house, if you're starting a company, if you're publishing a book, if you're doing anything, going back to school and trying to get that degree so that you can get, the next raise or the next opportunity. The most daunting part is the first decision that I'm going to do it. And then the second thing is sort of maybe the first year as you're kind of going into something. After that, things start to gain momentum. You start to see the push. So I see some of you may be looking at this big mountain that we see here thinking, can I do this? And the answer, of course, is yes, you can. Focusing more on the 3 of Wands energy here of why you're doing it to start with. What am I trying to accomplish? How does my energy every day bring me a little bit closer to that goal? That's all that matters. What happens is, like, look at this year. We're already at like November 12th here right now. For those of you watching in December, it's going to be even later. But this year is almost over, right? So it's a good thing. Like time flies. So just get started is the message here, because once you get started, movement, momentum happens. So that's it. Just start is the message from the guides. Okay. Let's take a look at the relationship stuff because there was a lot of it. What else can you focus on? Should you stay? Should you go? Should you talk to them? What is this? And if you're single and happy, what else is there to focus on as well? I love the Strength card. This is basically saying you have everything that you need. The other thing with Strength is, notice how the lion here is holding the rose as well. And it was reversed, which is a receiving energy for me. Whenever any of these sort of stronger cards are reversed, I don't read them necessarily negative. So if I see a Queen of Pentacles reverse, it looks like it's a good time to like go to school or fix up the home or do something for yourself that's going to help you. So with the Strength card in reverse, this is your chance to shine. And your partner, if you're in a habit of always holding them up, oh, by the way, it's you too, but this is sort of like, to state the obvious, but by the way, this is your chance to just be this sort of shining star, right? So this is your time. Do it. Go for it. If someone in your life can't celebrate your success in your moment, then again, as I saw with teeth falling away or people falling away or pipes that needed to be clear to clean, this was not the relationship that you thought it was. You don't need a relationship. That's the other card. We don't see something else in this one. There's no person dominating this beautiful animal. It is its own power. It is its own strength. It's one of the few strength cards that doesn't require someone there pulling its mouth open or pushing it or pulling it in another direction. Don't waste your time and energy trying to control people. Don't let them control you. It should be a very nice and even sort of connection. And that's what I was, again, seeing with like that blood pact. You don't need to give away that much. It doesn't have to be this difficult, right? So this is your moment to come into your strength, to shine, and to really be happy and strong. And people are either going to rise up and celebrate that new version of yourself, or they're going to fall away and you're going to make room for a better partnership. So don't try to control others. Don't let them control you. You be that strong lioness or lion that we see here, and it's a great card. Okay, so I like what I see here. You don't. Sometimes we I think it's because of all the home improvement shows and all the sort of like fixer-upper sort of energy that we see on TV with like, you know, like Pop Idol and X Factor and all this other stuff, where someone comes on and they give them a makeover and they show them how to sing a little bit better or something, and you think that that other version is better. We don't need to fix people up like people do on television. You don't need a makeover. You don't need to try to change someone in your life. People can change to a degree, but who you love is who you love, who you are is who you are. And so don't try to change people around you. And if they're trying to change you, there's something wrong. You should be naturally growing and evolving together, but it shouldn't be them saying, you know, if you only did this, I would love you more. That's definitely time to get out if that's happening, okay? So this isn't a makeover show. All right, let's take a look now at overall communication, and maybe like communication and path. I'm going to see which one wants to come through, because I see the 10 of Swords and then I see this Dharma card. So one thing that I'm even pulling as a connection between the two is you don't owe an explanation to anyone if you're trying to do something that's right. So let's just see if we can look at it on that path. Yeah. So we have like a rebirth card here too. Four of Swords is a different version of death and rebirth. It's a very quiet and gentle energy. The reversal of this is saying it is time to take action. And it's basically the opposite of take it easy. And when you stop focusing on people from the past, look at how the third eye is wide awake, wide open. So this is your chance to start over, whether you are, again, age 8 or 88 or 108, wherever you are. God bless you if you're 108 watching YouTube. I love you. But if you are, this is good. This is your chance to do something new. And I'm excited for where this is taking you. So let's review these cards. We'll meditate and get you into the best possible energy to take advantage of the world, the Ace of Wands and the Three of Wands that I see here. So first card, looking at the positive, even when sometimes it feels like things are trying to get you down, always look up. That's like a bumper sticker that I like. Always look up, look around, see what's going on around you. For this one, don't waste your time and energy on others, especially if they're not listening to you or if you're trying to change them unnecessarily. Why are you trying to change them? If they're trying to change you, why are they trying to change you? This should be a sort of natural union this month. And really the energy is about going within and focusing on yourself and getting into a really strong place. 2020 overall has been that way. Doesn't surprise me that December is kind of building on that. So the Four of Swords is a gentle release, probably the most gentle of all of the death cards. Six of Swords requires a lot more movement. Death, pretty in your face. There's other things like the Tower that can be a lot harder to deal with. But this card, not so hard. What I actually see is that it's time to move on. So if you've rested with something enough, now it's time to take action and move beyond that point and just let it go. As I said, as you start to focus on something new, momentum, trajectory, and just gravity is going to pull you in that other direction. That's the magic, and that's how you can make it happen this month, okay? I'm going to get into now the meditation portion. I would love for you to hit the like button and to subscribe if you've enjoyed what you've seen here. And a reminder that I'll be doing something special. I'm going to figure out exactly what this is going to be, but on the November 27th, I think there'll be a little bit of Q&A with my book, but I'm going to widen it a bit to a collective video on gratitude. So a reason to subscribe and to join me on social media is so that you don't miss out on that. I'll of course post it here, but just join me if you can. Stick around until after this meditation is done, and I'll list all my social media stuff as well. So just get into a comfortably seated place if you're not already. My meditations here are usually a couple of minutes. They don't go on forever. And it's interesting. I read all the comments, by the way. I get the questions. I just can't answer all of them because I have so much that I'm doing on the channel that if I was answering every comment, it would be taking up hours of my week. But one of the comments I saw just in the past day, maybe even this morning, was somebody talking about how they can't see things when they meditate. Well, I play a singing bowl too, so you can just enjoy what I'm saying and let the sound of my voice relax you if you can't visualize it. When I close my eyes, it's not like I see everything in beautiful, vivid colors. What I see is sort of like outlines, or I get figures, or I get impressions, or I feel things in my body. So sometimes I think that we focus too much on trying to make a meditation an experience. Just be here, just listen. The sound of my voice will heal, will guide, and then the sound of this singing bowl will also bring you into a place where the energy is cleared. All you have to do is be present and say, I'm ready and open to receive whatever comes through. The more you meditate, the easier it gets. For those of you that can't see things, it's not a big deal. You may just get an epiphany or an idea in the meditation. So while your eyes are closed and you're clearing your head, thoughts are just as valuable. It doesn't have to be this like impressionistic painting in your head. You could just think, oh my gosh, I need to take care of this. Bingo, that's what the meditation was for you, okay? Everybody experiences it differently. There's no right and there's no wrong. And don't worry if you don't see anything in your head. Just see what you do, feel, or hear, or experience. And if you're just quiet for a couple minutes, it's still good. All right, close your eyes. All right, I want you to imagine yourself, let's see. I want to see us above the planet here. So especially since we have the world card here. So sometimes we meditate from the moon. I think that would be a good place to do it today. So see yourself on the moon looking down at the earth, this beautiful little swirling blue-green planet. And with the moon, what's nice is you can plant yourself on the surface, but you're really weightless. So if there's anything that's been holding you down or has felt heavy, imagine that here on the lunar surface, you're astrally projecting. Your body's here, but your consciousness is there. Just imagine that there's nothing that's heavy. There's nothing holding you down. There's no limits there. So give yourself a moment to maybe even bounce around the surface a little bit and feel what it's like to not have any weight, to not feel the gravity of your thoughts or the gravity of the planet. And then once you've gotten that out of your system and played around a little bit, try to plant yourself down on the lunar surface and take a look at our Earth. Look at how majestically large it is, but also how small it is in comparison to the sun, in comparison to larger planets like Jupiter, and also just in the vastness of the galaxy and the universe that surrounds it. So we are both large and small at the same time. We are both, alive and mortal, but also immortal because of our souls. From this vista, we can actually connect even more easily to our higher selves. So I'd like you to close your eyes on the moon. And we did this in my Halloween meditation, and I want to do something similar here. We're going to draw a triangle of energy from the lunar surface to the sun to the earth. And just like the triangle that we saw here with the Three of Wands, we're going to use it a little differently this time, where you're going to be able to look at it as a lens to the possibilities. It's like a scrying mirror. So imagine now that your heart is anchoring into the lunar surface, and then connect to your body, which is on the earth, and now send your consciousness towards the sun and see this beautiful triangulation of energy. Sun being divine masculine, the moon and the earth both being divine feminine energies, and also being like sisterly energy because the moon was created from an impact and it's some of the same material. So we have this connection between divine masculine, divine feminine. And in the center of this, now you can start to see things. So I want you to focus on what it is in this mirror, this cosmic mirror in the sky that we've created, what it is that you want to create. It's a portal as well that we're opening. We're going to do something similar on New Year's Eve. I'm going to have a special that day where we open up a portal. But right now, start to call in what you want, what you're trying to create. And I want you to really just focus on the higher energies and see that all of this is possible if you allow it to be possible. Look over your shoulder and allow the other stuff to drift away. Whatever from your past that you don't want is existing in your life. See it starting to just go out into outer space. The old relationships, the old drama, the stuff that you don't care about anymore. It's just space junk and it's floating away, far away from you. Now you're just here, and you can even put yourself, you can do another projection into the center if you want. And as we play this singing bowl here, I want you to just allow for the energy of possibility to start to fill up your auric field, okay? So meditate on the possibilities. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Meditate on this thought. If you can see it, it's possible. It's somewhere out there in the universe of possibilities. Too often we focus on what we can't or won't or are afraid of doing. Focus instead tonight, as you go to sleep, on what's possible. And knowing that you've seen it, so therefore you can do it. That's really what 2021 is shaping up to be. 2020 is just about done. And just like Apollo, let's go through the other door, and enough is enough with that year. So start to focus on what it is you want to create. We'll do a little bit more of a meditation at the end of December. And but in the meantime, just focus on creating this sort of egg-like energy that we saw, so that once you get into the next year, you can hatch, you can come through. It's going to be a really great year ahead for you, okay? Gently open your eyes, and let's bring you back into your physical body, because we were out in space. So rub your hands together. Put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that. Feel your energy, feel the heat that you've just created. Pull all of that sort of cosmic wisdom that we just experienced back into your body, back into your mind, heart, and soul, and welcome back. So let's take a quick look here at some of the other stuff that I was talking about here. I would love for you to connect with me on social media. So let me give you some information on how to connect with me. Everything that I'm going to talk about is on my website. So it's nicholasashbaugh.com. And if you have trouble remembering that or typing it, you can just click on my picture on YouTube or on the app, and then go to the About tab on my main profile page, and all the links that I'm going to talk about are there. Thanks, by the way, for anybody that did a super chat. You helped me buy the cards. You helped me buy the index cards. You helped me just show up here. It's kind of like sometimes like street performing. You guys do kind of help keep it going, so I appreciate that. If you're watching this on replay, you can also give back through the applaud button. So social media. I'm on most major platforms, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and everything listed on this page. My username is @NicholasAshbaugh. No, nothing before, nothing after. And I use all three of these. I will use the stories to remind you, and I can put links in Facebook and in Instagram. Also on all three of these, I will post a picture of those note cards that I wrote down at the beginning, so you can get the channel messages, and I also summarize it in a way that makes sense. Goodreads is new. It's a great way to connect with me. Like I said, I have an upcoming Q&A, so you can ask some questions there until I think the 25th. Depending on how much I get, I'll either do a Q&A or I'll just do a collective, or I'll do a combination of both. I'm figuring it out. But right now there's not a lot of interest, so it might just be a collective video because I've already set aside the date. Patreon is a great place to connect with me and show your appreciation, just like the join button here. What that does, again, is just help me with supplies. This is my day job, what I'm doing here. I help you out, I see clients, and I also write a book when I'm not doing this. So whenever you guys join and subscribe and give back, it basically allows me to keep doing what I'm doing. PayPal is another way that you can give if you'd like to. It's PayPal/me, Nicholas Ashbaugh. Or yeah, paypal.me/Nicholas Ashbaugh. The only social media site that's different is Twitter, and that's @nashbaugh. And that is pretty much it. Again, one last time, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Comment as well. I know it's annoying to hear that from YouTube creators, but it actually makes a really big difference in the way that our videos are served up. So a couple of clicks, and I'm super grateful. All right, everybody, it is Thursday. I will be back on Friday. I just read so I think the next one up is Virgo. But the whole sign is, or the whole list of upcoming videos is on my website. I saw somebody asking earlier, so you can always check out and see what I'm reading today, what I'm reading next. And I just, as an FYI, I'm live on Thursdays and on Fridays, also on Sundays and on Mondays. And so my schedule is pretty predictable. So hopefully you can get all the information you need by going to my website as well. Thanks again to Ryan and Maria for helping me stay organized today. I appreciate it. And yeah, have a great end of the week, great weekend. Stay healthy, stay happy, and good luck. December looks great for you, okay? See you guys soon. Bye-bye.